We're recording. Truth is...
It's official. Microsoft just confirmed this very day Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will be available on day 1 on Game Pass alongside a release date of October 2024, mid this year. It'll also be fully revealed on June 9. There's more to come. Black Ops 6 will be set during the Gulf War. Multiplayer included a zombie mode as well as a free-to-play battle royale mode, we hear.
Nothing is what it seems. But if it's truth you seek, look in the dark.
Now, we don't really have an official release date for Delta Force Hawk Ops yet, but it's no later than mid-2025. A few days ago, Team Studios came out with its first official in-game footage trailer, reassuring it'll be a free-to-play game across PCs and consoles, even mobiles. This is a tactical multiplayer game only, so to speak, where you get to choose different operators as they take on various different missions. Announced roughly half a year ago, in case you missed it. Number 3, we have a Unreal Engine 5 first-person shooter project going by the name Gray Zone Warfare, which we've mentioned a few times before on the channel. As a game that's described by developers as a very immersive tactical FPS with a maximum focus on realism. Gray Zone Warfare is actually set in a vast open world setting that offers both a single and a co-op multiplayer experience. This is supposedly its developer's first work and set to be coming to PCs sometime soon.
Have I got an epic quest for you?
Borderlands 4 is in active development. Developers announced, and it is only one of over 3 different games that Take-Two plans to release with Gearbox this year. Now, we've only known, or better said, proven that this game is a real thing since actually last year. They said they're gonna make a showcase to Summer Game Festival, but that didn't happen either. The only thing we know and are hoping for at the moment is to get an update in the following week.
Gimme! What are you waiting for?
This is awesome!
Oh, howdy! Our holy family's gonna tear the whole galaxy a new one.
Roughly a month ago, Tower House presented the first gameplay trailer for the game Sand, which was a PvP versus environment shooter we've heard about first last year, which then turned out to be a pretty unusual open world shooter we talked about last week. And it's not just a story that is rather innovative, actually Sand takes place in this alternative history where people are already space traveling and you're a member of a treasure hunter team looking for loot.
запрягайте. Бачу, вже насувається буря. Невдовзі зустрінемося знову.
5 long years in the dark of the ground. No one knew where we could be found.
Under the title Terminator Survival number 6, here's the first open-world survival game in the long-running Terminator franchise that is being developed by the Korean developers Nacon. Earlier this day, we got a few more screenshots of the game and a release window of 2025 and the showcasing of T-800. Now here's the thing, Survivor is actually set in 2009, just shortly after Judgment Day, when Skynet's production capabilities hadn't yet reached their peak. Here's how it looks.
I created the order to save people. All people, Artyom. It's your turn now. Lead them.
For those of you already familiar with the fact that there was a Metro Awakening, or a VR Metro game in the making, it's not just only that. Well, there is a second, in fact older promise of a sequel simply called Metro 4 in the making. It's coming to PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and will of course be another first-person shooter survival horror game. However, it's under separate development at 4A Games, taking advantage of a new engine overhaul and focusing on a new multiplayer element in addition to a single player.
Life built on a lie? Or death born out of truth?
Artyom, let's jump!
I've said it before, John Carpenter's new project is on the way. It's a zombie survival shooter, in fact, going by the name Toxic Commando. This game is backed with huge teams like Focus Home, Saber Interactive, and a bunch of others. Supposedly, it's the first work of a series of games that will continue coming out in the following years. We got another trailer for it. Toxic Commando is coming to PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X soon.
What if I told you that every word you say is being recorded?
In case you didn't get caught up with the update, Judas is now coming out in March 2025. A couple of months ago we got our last trailer in-game footage, and where we learned it's a PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X exclusive. This project is actually from the same creators of the BioShock games. We all know it's been over 10 years since the last BioShock game, I mean, excluding the remasters, and the folks have been cooking something just as fine, much better. And this is how it looks.
He was trying to lure us into the house.
6 Days in Fallujah is finally coming out of its early access with additional content on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and the past generation of consoles early next year. These developers announced a release window of Q1. It's a first-person tactical shooter based on true stories of war and, of course, Iraqi civilians during the urban battle of 80s and 90s. In any case, these developers just released another new trailer for it.
start to like plan your own death.
A little over a month ago, Industria 2 was officially resurfaced at the Future Games show with a release window of 2025 into PCs exclusively. These developers said, "We know the new game is a dimension-crossing narrative and a first-person shooter, but a sequel to a 4-year-old franchise that was received really well upon release." Now, Industria 2 is made with the use of Unreal Engine 5 and delivering a very narrative, much compelling game that unfolds in an alternative dimension.
If you hear this, don't take any risks. We need you. Please answer. The area is not safe. I repeat, the area.
Area 12 lockdown. Backup is waiting for your signal.
Just a quick reminder over here, SCP-5K, the horror game, is said to be coming out of its early access too, fully released by the end of the year for PCs. And for those of you new here, this SCP-5K is actually a co-op tactical horror shooter, which was released over 2 years ago first, in early, and it has to be one of the finest in quality early access games ever made, offering super good graphics, really cool single-player campaign, and good fights too. There's one problem. It could definitely use some AI teammates like the Left 4 Dead games. In 2021, at the Game Awards, we came across a Stalker-inspired first-person shooter coming from an indie developer called Pioneer, with just one E. It was a cinematic and a very short gameplay trailer too, mixed with a little dashes of gameplay. Now, if you know the game before, Pioneer is now coming to PCs, and apparently it's going to be coming out early to mid next year. We finally got some in-game footage. This is actually a MMORPG game in nature. Number 14, we have Sun and Bone. It's a pretty rare thing to happen, but a PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's a first-person shooter, not just any FPS, but it's actually from the same developers as last year's game, horror game, Quantum Error, which indicates it's being made with the use of Unreal Engine 5 just the same. Although this time, the game of talking is much eerier and more messed up in nature. Here's how it looks. It's said to be coming to PlayStation 5 within 2024. Coming in at last, as its developer's first work here too, in case you missed it, we've got a noir FPS shooter, something that draws inspiration from classic cartoons of 30s, you're going by the name Mouse. I say you probably grew up watching old rubber hose black and white cartoons like my dad. This will give you the same atmosphere, comedy, classic, and much more. This good looking thing is due for PC, Switch, and both generation of consoles early next year.